I would say that you have a really interesting relationship with technology. You write about that your dad introduced you to computers and gave you a sense for the optimistic nature of technology. And you spent your 20s at the opposite end of the spectrum with a total disregard for it. And yet you've ultimately become an incredibly optimistic advocate for it. So can you maybe walk us through that and share how that shaped your experience and how that shaped your approach and perspective about technology?
I was growing up in high school, kind of hippie-ish. And like hippies, I was kind of keeping technology at my arm's length. I was very influenced in high school by Henry David Thoreau, who wrote Walden, which was sort of my hero. And the prospect of sort of living a simple life, simple meaning not much stuff around, not much technology in particular, was very appealing to me. And I set off after high school with that kind of a bias in mind. And I spent a lot of time living with people who didn't have very much technology, which was a lesson in itself. But I came back and tried to get a career started and started a business selling mail order budget travel guides. And I used someone else's computer to help me typeset it. But the epiphany moment was when I had to plug the computer into a modem to transmit some stuff. And on the modem, I discovered at the other side of it was this emerging weird country of onlineness, bulletin boards and all that kind of stuff. And for the first time, I became a little bit interested in what this stuff was because it felt a little different than the technology I had been used to. It had a different character. There was something more human scale about, or there was just a lot different. And I wanted to find out more. And I started to investigate. And my method of investigating is to write about it. And so slowly I had the realization that this technology was far more appropriate to what I wanted to do. And it was the first camel's nose into the tent of me rethinking technology overall. And as I got deeper into it and there was more of it and eventually got involved in actually making it with the well, I felt that I was seeing a different face of technology, and that face became more and more prevalent the deeper I got into it and computers came online, and the complexity of those computers struck me as almost biological. And that was actually my first book, Out of Control, which was examining how the world of the born is not that far from the world of the made. Artificial things are, in some ways, when they're really complicated, very similar and lifelike and can be and are probably organized and managed with the same principles. And so my journey where I ended up was re-examining technology and understanding that it didn't have to be cold and impersonal and large and centralized and unforgiving, but it could be all the opposites. And so that journey kind of kept going and it's still going right now, where I've tried to understand more precisely what is this thing we call technology in the cosmological sense, like where does it fit in? How does it relate to life? And my current summary would be that it is an extension of life, and therefore it's not contrary to it, life. It's an extended version of life. And that gives me hope because it means that we can always make a greener version of whatever we make.
Sure, and it's imprinted with human qualities or human-like qualities, or it can be imbued with
Lifelike
that warmth.
qualities. I don't actually think it's very human. I think it's lifelike. In other words, the origins of technology are not in human minds, but actually back at the Big Bang. And it kind of was present before us because actually I think when animals use their minds to make, beavers make dams and birds make nests, those are kinds of technologies. So it's something that has preceded us, it works through us, and will extend beyond us. So that was my realization. But technology can work at biological scales, which fit us very well.